Okay, welcome everyone to the Toku Portal podcast. It's me, Zero, here with.
Mention.
And Rai. We're welcome to Kamen Rider Zi-O episode 31, where we open up on uh, the G3 unit from Agito uh, being brought back out of the vault for a test run. Uh, this is interrupted when the facility is broken into by another Agito, who starts wrecking shit on the G3 units. Uh, So, Henshin, you haven't seen Agito, right?
No.
No. So, uh, the G3 unit is literally like a man made suit that you just physically put on. Like, there's no future science technology belts. Like, you just strap it on piece by piece.
Yeah, I the only bit of Agito I've seen for some reason is the first episode. I still remember the first episode opens with the G3 unit being tested. And somehow I still remember parts of the first episode, and I need to go back and finish the rest of the show.
Yeah, I mean, G3 unit is pretty big part of Agito. That's probably why they start off with it. Um, yeah, it was interesting to see them come back. It's actually more interesting that they're using more than one suit. I mean, like, it makes sense. It was meant to be mass produced anyway. It's nice to see that they're acknowledging that fact. They're also saying that, like, yeah, they have newer suits, but, like, um, it's the newest suit is being tested, and then they're only using this because it can be mass produced. Um, Also, I'm betting that we're gonna get more details on the new suit next episode, and it's gonna be like a G4 situation where it's like, every time you go past the G3, something crazy happens because you try to like advance the suit too much, and it drives the users crazy somehow.
Hopefully, this version won't require its own tractor trailer truck to remote operate from
I
the first
mean,
episode as well.
yeah. Well, that was just one of those like cool features where it's like, oh, it's just a mobile base. Like technically, the G3 unit doesn't need any of that because it has the bike, but it's like it's just one of those cool Agito things. Like there was a lot of like cool like throwbacks to Agito in this, especially like the way it's shot and like the locations and the way characters react. Especially because like Suichi comes in and holy shit, like you forget how like expressive and like Suichi is as a character, especially because his like constant like what the fuck did you just say? What just happened? He's so good at just like giving that like reaction faces, so it's so good seeing that. And like the characters were kind of doing that, and like the shots and everything. Such a nice Agito vibe.
Yeah, this was definitely well done. Uh,
Yeah.
Vashi is like currently in the middle of watching Agito, so it'd be great if he is able to make it tonight. Uh, but we'll see. Uh, so we cut to our heroes at the clock shop, where Sogo has laid out the ride watches in front of him, and the Ryuki watch is amongst the collection. Like he does get it in like the Rider Time Ryuki special, so that thing I was saying last time doesn't matter. He also includes Gaze's future drive watch in this, even though he technically hasn't collected it yet.
I don't know if Gates will let him borrow it, but maybe, though I think that's a rather small chance. Also, could Zi-O even use that? It seems like it's only made for Gates.
The well,
Gates
so,
Revive Watch.
no, I'm talking about the drive watch.
Oh, sorry. For some reason, I thought of a totally different watch. You're right.
I'm talking about the drive watch that Gaze brought back from the future. Uh, like with the Ghost Watch, Sogo has to collect his own because otherwise the future watch doesn't exist.
Yay, paradoxes.
Right. So whether or not this drive watch will be destroyed like the ghost one was is doesn't matter. Sogo has to get his own. He can't just use this one.
Got it.
I mean, it's gonna be interesting depending on the order they go through because like Omazio shows up and he says like, "Oh, you have to collect 6, but they're not exactly in order."
Uh, well,
Kind of
when it does the like scan between
recap.
each watch, like to like
Yeah.
give you a look at what they are, that is in order.
Oh, okay, yeah. So my bad.
Yeah, that
I was
particular
just
like flash between like the way they were scattered around him was random, but like when the camera like cuts to each one, it does it in airing order.
I was thinking they're not in order, and that's like a foreshadowing to when so Drive's gonna be the last one. That's why it's gonna be one of the weird ones. But yeah, if it's airing order, then yeah, that makes more sense then.
Sorry. Uh, uh, so so Sogo has come to a decision. He is going to collect the remaining ride watches, which makes Waz happy because that's how Sogo originally became Omazio. Uh, Tsukuyomi and Gaze, of course, question him, but Sogo feels that he should be at least on par with Omazio. Uh, and so this is like one of Ashi's two big problems with this episode, which is isn't everything about this trying to prevent you from becoming Omazio? So here's how I'm like kind of looking at it to try and justify it. Sogo doesn't want to collect the watches to become Omazio because he doesn't want to become the Demon King in this timeline. Uh, he wants to collect the watches because he wants to be king still. Like he still has that ideal, and that's how Omazio went about it. So that gives him the goal of collect the ride watches, become king. Uh, and the whole like on par with him comment doesn't like at first it makes it sound like he intends to fight Omazio, which they have no reason to think that because they're trying to like push the world into a different timeline. Unless you consider that like he just wants to be on that strength level, like for protecting the world as a king, maybe.
Maybe I was actually thinking it's just gonna be a fight thing because like Amazi just like ripped the hole in the space time continuum to just tell them like, yeah, go collect 6 more damn watches, you idiot. So I'm thinking like if it gets to the point where it's like Amazio is like, okay, you're really fucking up the timeline and creating a paradox for me, so I'm just gonna come back in time and kick your ass so you get
Correction.
back on the right.
The End opened up a portal to the world of Omazio.
Okay, yeah, that's a better point.
But with that being said, I am totally willing to believe that Omazio would timeline jump to this one just to be like, alright, if you're not going to rule this timeline, then I'll rule both.
Yeah, that's a good
Plus,
point because he could
if the timeline changes, then that Omazio vanishes. So he's like, well, I don't want to die.
Yeah, I'll just jump to
Or
this
get my
timeline and
existence.
still exist somehow.
Yeah, I'll rule both timelines. It's okay. I'm the Demon King. I do what I want.
I mean, it depends on like the abilities he has. Like he could just literally take over Soga if he wanted to.
Could he?
Um,
That'd be interesting to see in the future.
yeah, I mean,
Closer,
because
the more of those 6 watches Zi-O gets, like the more future Oma Zi-O like influence him subconsciously, maybe. That'd be an interesting thing to lead up to the finale.
I mean,
yeah,
we still technically don't know what drove Sogo to become Omazio in the original timeline. We know now that like one of the things that helped him become a demon king was that he was alone and didn't have any friends, so he never really learned sympathy for others. But we don't have that like ultimate push into being the demon king.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to find out like what actually in the original timeline drove Sogo to become the Demon King.
I like this is one of those things where it's like I don't think we're gonna get that much because like
Nah,
if
like
we do, then it becomes like year three of this because then it's like Emu and Peardo and like Sento
like
and Katsuragi.
I wanted to
Yeah.
see what drove him to become the demon king because I wanted to see how he overcame it in this timeline. But then we got the revelation that he's already overcome it just because he has friends.
The power of friendship. What can't it do?
Nothing if you
Um,
believe in Forze.
Or any shonen anime, or like any anime in general. Most of them.
uh, well, yeah, I mean, I guess it depends, but yeah, like Ryder tends to be a little hokey nowadays. I mean, I guess it always kind of was, but anyway, back to this. Um, right, like Amazio's, it's interesting, especially because like I don't know, man. We're like 30 episodes in, like there's six, so that's 12, so it's like 40 something, which means like there's a couple episodes left where it's like, okay, who's the final villain? Like, is it gonna be like Amazio? Is it gonna be Schwartz? Like, that's gonna be interesting. I mean, it feels like it's Schwartz, but it's like he really has no power. We keep beating his ass every episode, you know?
Right, so here, so I think it was Vashi and I were saying that like, what if Schwartz becomes another Omazio, and then you kind of get both of them in there.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, I think that's the only option left because it feels like the show wants us to fight Amazio, but I don't think we're
Right.
gonna ever get to the point of fighting Amazio because it wouldn't make sense.
Yeah,
Because
like
like you're already erasing the timeline. Like,
the
how is this fight even happen?
the way the show's going is that like they like Omazio doesn't have to be the final villain. Uh Other than like a symbolism kind of thing of like Sogo overcoming that like go overcoming his demon king nature. Uh in fact
Not
like
be a metaphorical battle with
I
Omazeo.
I was like kind of shocked that we even saw Omazio appear again in that episode where it's like, oh, he's okay. We're still doing this.
Gotta set up the next arc.
Yeah, kinda. It's also because it seems like the newest arcs are all gonna be weird episodes because like since like another Zio's shown up, it's all become weird. I mean, I guess technically since another Shikai has all been weird. Well, I guess that
Are
was
we
part of
gonna?
the future writer arc, so it's
Speaking of another Zio, do you think we'll see Hiryu again?
Yeah, his plot wasn't fully resolved.
Okay, looking forward to seeing how that works out.
We got a conclusion to like that little arc, but uh, like we didn't. That wasn't truly resolved. Like I can't imagine we won't see Hirio reappear, and if
I
he can,
mean,
sorry, go on.
no, I mean, I was gonna say it depends on which writers like crossover he can show up in because like it seems like lately we're actually using the themes of the show whenever we do the crossover episode.
Uh, how's about Kabuto then? Because worms would imitate people.
Maybe, but Helios thing is like dueling king, so I'm thinking Kiva,
Oh, that also works.
right? Like those two would be really interesting. And the thing is, they're really different messages too, right? Because like if Kabuto shows up and his message is no, just follow your own path, and that's the path of heaven thing is like just walk your own path. like have the strength to just do your own shit. Which is like Kabuto's lesson, and then Kiva's lesson, which is also similar, which is like just be yourself. You don't have to follow a destiny or something, which sounds similar, but they're very
Yeah.
different shows.
Right, because
Uh, Whereas like I mean, Kiva is like you're not defined. You don't have to live up to a legacy. You're not defined by the past. Whereas
right.
Kabuto is uh, like the future is what you make it. Like do your own shit. Um, yeah, I mean, like they sound similar, but like they're
Right.
very
So
different
like,
Kamen Riders.
because Kabuto, it's like do what you want and like you control your destiny. So Kabuto himself, like he became like Tendo Soji became Kabuto. He fought the worms. Like he decided to do all those things. No one like put him on that path other than like when he was handed the belt. But he chose to accept it. He didn't. He chose to pursue that years later. Whereas Kiva, it's like, all right, you're born into being a king, and we have all these rules and regulations to uphold. And it's like, no, you don't have to do that, though. You don't have to be that way.
Well, kinda. That's more of like Dark Kiva's storyline. Kiva's is also the flip side where it's like you're basically born to protect humanity, kind of. Well, I mean that became your burden because like you always hear this like story of your dad being like this legendary hero type dude, um, and stuff, and then you're just constantly being like reminded of like this legacy that you have to live up to like all the fucking time, and then like as Kiva goes on, it's like, no, dude, it's fine. Go live your own fucking life. Do your own shit. Like you can be a hero if you want, but you have to do it your own way.
Especially when you get into
Um,
like the stuff about him being half Fangire, and it's like Fangire and
Dude,
humans aren't supposed to
spoilers.
coexist. Whatever. 10 years ago.
I know, but Henshin hasn't seen it.
Sorry.
I haven't seen Kiva either. In fact, I haven't seen any of the remaining six Ride Watch shows.
Oh, really? Drive is the only one I haven't seen.
I haven't seen Drive, haven't seen Hibiki, haven't seen Kabuto. Only exception is Deno, which I'm watching currently, and that's technically on hold. Need to get back to it.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen Deno either. Um, the most interesting thing is like if Drive is last and we finally get to like shorts as shit in Drive, that'd be really funny because Drive's thing is like, you know how like Kabuto has like Clock Up and like Fies and Excel and all those guys have like
Right, speed
speed up
forms.
powers?
Yeah.
Yeah, Drive's thing is no, we don't have speed forms. We have anti slowdown powers. Because like
Yeah.
Drive's enemies all have the ability to just slow down everything around them. And then Drive's speed form isn't a speed form. It's more like now I can just move like a normal human being in this like
What about
slowdown
Type
type.
It's a
Not Type
normalizer.
on like I don't know which one is this. There's Formula and there's like Dead Heat. Those are the fast forms,
Dead Heat
maybe?
is more like a mid power up, and like Formula is actually the mid season power up, and Dead Heat is more just like a like temporary like how should I describe like type Formula is basically like Zi-O 2, and like
Mm.
Dead Heat is like like the decade thing where it just like extends. It's like stronger and it just extends his ability. Where it's like it's a
Okay.
cool form, but like technically Formula is stronger, but Formula is just powered by CGI. Um,
Uh,
it seriously is. It literally just has like okay, it looks cool, but it can't move worth shit because it's got a fucking F1 car sticking out of his chest.
Yeah, it
What
looks
the
so
fuck?
weird in like the pictures I've seen.
It's so dumb. Like technically, it's supposed to be really fast and stuff, but like most of the time, he just stands there, loads his fucking gun, and fires. And like CGI does this stuff. Like Formula, that's why like we got rid of Formula so fast, is because like
can't
it's
afford to keep
supposed to be
doing
a mid.
that.
Yeah, it's that, and it's like it does nothing. Like it's not impressive because like Dead Heat is actually really cool because like one, it's like a power up, but it's like it's an imperfect power up. So like you only have like a certain amount of time before it like makes your suit go a little crazy and like deactivate. And it's one of those forms where you can pass it. So like originally Drive has it, then he gives it to Mach. So Mach uses it as his power up, which is cool. But like yeah, Formula should have been a cool power up. It was a lame ass power up. And then like Trideron is like his ultimate form anyway, so that's like it's just an ultimate form. Like most ultimate forms, it just kind of does everything and has speed powers and a shield with speed, so it's weird. Um, yeah, like Trideron's a really nice form. Oh, also it has the ability for like Belt to take over. Uh, and like it can actually switch between like Shinosuke being in control or Belt-san being in control. So uh like he'll be fighting and then like his like helmet color would change and it would go from like red to yellow and then like Belt-san's in control now.
Whatever
Or is it the
whatever picture Henshin just posted looks terrible.
That is type formula.
oh that's type formula.
That
It's
is
fucking trash.
awful.
It is.
Yeah, it's fucking trash. It's supposed to be this like cool power up form, but like
It's
it's
not.
so under.
Someone
Yeah,
could
it's.
easily like yank him back by the spoiler on the back.
I know, right? Like the only thing
Sitting on
type
his head.
formula. Oh, like right. Formula has the ability to break. Like how like Kabuto has like ultimate clock up, where it's like clocking up so much that even clock up basically stands still. Right? Like
Right.
when the time like formula comes in, the enemies kind of got so strong that like they could literally freeze time, and like
Mm.
drives normal forms weren't able to like move at all. So formula basically has the ability to move again in that thing. So it's like it's technically a faster form, but it's more like it just
But like
deactivates the
cl-
enemy's power up.
clock up doesn't slow down the world around it. It speeds up the user.
No, I know. I'm talking about ultimate clock up from Godspeed Love.
Oh,
Like the golden dude when he
right.
does his clock up, and then like literally the other Kabuto riders can't keep up
That
because his clock up is like
that
the
that
perfect
was
one.
the that was what became later became Kabuto's hyper clock up.
Right, exactly. So um, it's sort of like that. That's what Formula beats, where it's uh, like you're fucking with like time and like basically the speed things are moving to such an extent that like normal drive can't function, but like Formula can still function. So it's like yeah, technically it's a power up, but it's more like it just deactivates the enemy's power up. Um, and he gets a gun, and it's stupid. Um, but yeah, Formula is just fucking trash. But getting back to Zi-O,
Right. We were talking about a show here. Um, so
yeah,
so they are interrupted when Uncle returns and asks if they've seen the news. And he puts on the TV, and we get footage of another Agito like attacking a G3 unit facility. Uh, and then this gets interrupted by Waz throwing confetti over Sogo, like, "Hey, congratulations, you're graduating," doing his usual like opening thing, but with one like change. Instead of normal high schooler, it's no longer a high schooler because Sogo graduated high school after cheating on his makeup exam.
yeah, that
This
was
was
pretty cute.
it was really funny. It's like, yep, freeze time, throw confetti on Sogo. Would have been funny later if Sogo's going around like, why is there confetti in my hair?
That would have been pretty funny. Um, yeah, the weird thing is like it's funny because like normally it's like they come in and like the uncle's there, but it's like oh no, the uncle came in, they were all just standing around. I'm like oh that's a nice reversal. And then he turns on the TV and is like oh watch the news. I'm like this is like yeah, I could kind of see this happening in Agito land, but like this is Kuga. This is not an Agito thing, right? Like the cops in Agito would cover this up, especially if an attack happened at their facility,
Yeah,
right?
like that's what I was
This
saying. Is
is
like,
very much an Agito, or this is very much a Kuga thing, where it's like
like,
the news would come.
like maybe like this particular facility was like, let's street like let's stream this. Like, let's show like the public what the plan is. Let's get them in on this. And then, oops.
Yeah, maybe.
Also,
Uh,
everyone is like phones now, but also it's like showing everyone the plot. Easiest
well,
way to get the plot moving, which
yeah,
is
I
a
know
little odd.
that's which is such a modern trope, but um, yeah, but like the news updating, oh, the monsters are doing this or that is like such an not Agito, such a Kuga thing. Like Agito, it kind of happened, but it's more like, oh yes, like three victims found dead in park or something is what you would hear over the news. Whereas like Kuga, it's like no, freaking Grangi are attacking, get the fuck out of here, like, or you see the news and like the attack, like I mean the camera angles were cool and all. I'm like just a little like I mean it's better than Agito ever could because like cameras weren't that damn small back then. Um
If I was filming and they're like, "Quick, run toward the monster," I'd be like, "You'd better be paying me to double to risk my life just to get a good shot by running toward the monsters unarmed."
oh man, that's pretty good. Um yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, oh, this is one of those like fun. This is really funny because it's like, oh, you have Agito, which is like the cop show, and then you have like Ryuki, which is the reporter show, like right next to each other. I'm like, oh my god. If like the Ryuki reporters were in Agito, it'd be hilarious because they'd be like running towards the monsters all the time. And like the mirror monsters you can hide, but like the Agito monsters would straight up fucking kill your ass. So it's pretty funny seeing that. Yeah, but there was a lot of really interesting camera shots this episode.
Uh, so, meanwhile, in unspecified other country, uh,
Yeah, France.
is it? Oh, is it France? I wasn't really paying attention.
Yeah, it's well. I mean, they're speaking French,
Oh, okay, that makes
and like
sense.
Agito
Like,
is a like he was a colony student. He's a chef now, so he probably just went to France to train. Also, Japan has this weird fascination. Um, so it's fine. But
uh,
like, I'm like, oh, did you run into the other super cook who's also a
I
Kamen
was
Rider
about to
there?
say, like, Kabuto also goes to France.
Right? Did you
Someone
run
write
into it?
that fanfic.
Oh
Like,
my god.
there
Yeah,
was
did you run
crossover
into him
potential
getting
here.
tofu from France?
Uh,
God,
so,
Kabuto's ending is
uh,
so stupid.
so, yeah, we cut to Sugami Soichi, who's working at a French restaurant in France. But he receives the news about the G3 units being attacked with the person giving the information saying, "I don't know if it's unknown or not. It could be." So he decides, yeah, to return to Japan.
Yeah, I mean, well, are you gonna cover like the restaurant scene because that's like literally right after this, right?
Uh, the next scene is Schwartz. Yeah,
Okay,
like
okay.
Uru and Aura are having
No,
like.
I
Oh,
can
go on.
wait. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Uh, Uru and Aura are having a little conversation about how they're not sure what Schwartz is up to, and they're starting to distrust him. And Schwartz like pops in uninvited, like, "I didn't ask for your opinion." And he starts going on about Sogo collecting the ride watches to become Omazio, and he does this really cool symbolism thing where he has a cup of tea in front of him, and as he's talking about collecting the ride watches, he's like putting lumps of sugar into it until it overflows.
Yeah, that was a good shot. People were joking like, "Oh, is he gonna drink that really sugary tea?" I'm like, no, it
No,
just shows that after a certain point, you can't stop Oma Zi-O or Soga becoming king, whatever the
you
equivalent
can't
is in this
contain his
timeline.
power. Like his power becomes overflowing. Like that was the whole point of that. It's like that was really cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I totally missed that. I'm like, okay, Schwartz, is this like a character creation?
Uh, so cut back to our heroes, wondering like, okay, so what do we do here? Like, how do we go about this? Uh, and I think it's Gaze who concludes like, okay, so based on the news reports, the monsters are attacking the G3 unit. The G3 unit is not going after them, like, so they could just follow the G3 unit around and wait for the monster to show up. And then Soga decides to change the topic out of nowhere and ask, "So I know what Gaze and Waz's backstory is, but what's yours, Tsukuyomi?" Uh, and they reveal that Tsukuyomi actually has amnesia. She was found with amnesia by the Resistance. Very, very similar backstory to Agito, because Sugami Shoichi was found washed on a beach with amnesia.
Honestly, like, it does seem a bit out of nowhere, but I'm glad they're at least doing something with her character-wise. I just hope that I know we were talking a few episodes ago about how you could like take Tsukiyomi out with very little change. So I'd like if they would actually to the plot. It would be to do. Also, I'm like, I hope that like when she gets her memory back, it's like, oh, I'm Jack. We'll talk about that later. But it's like, I hope it's not like, oh, I'm supposed to be evil. I guess I am now. So I hope they don't do that.
Yeah, I hope they don't do that too. I mean, I guess the intro makes a little bit more sense now with like Tsukiomi running and like the time jackers disappearing around her. Um, because like she has freaking amnesia, so that makes sense. Also, like, man, I mean, even if this is one of those weird things because like these episodes are so well written, but it also seems like, all right, did you actually plan this, or did you just pull this out of your ass last minute and make it fit super well? Because like I don't know either way, but like pulling this in an Agito episode is perfect. But I'm like, is that why Tsukiomi is being so bland? Because like I mean, you, the main writer, knew that she had amnesia, so you're just under playing her character this whole time. Like, I guess that's an interesting way of doing it.
I would have been more impressed
Oh,
if Tsukuyomi turned into an Agito.
Tsukiomi, what?
If she turned into an Agito.
Oh my god! Yeah, just toss the five gun, just go Agito right then and there. That would have been fun.
Honestly, amnesia and be well written. Sento had amnesia and was fairly well written. I think Shoichi was probably well written, and he had
He
amnesia.
So they don't bring up his amnesia a whole lot, but when they do, they make it count. For example, at one point, he's up for consideration. They don't know he's Agito, and he's up for consideration as being the new G3 user. And so the original user is like, Hikawa is like arguing about it's like, no, you can't be the G3 user because you don't have a motorcycle license. Amnesiacs can't get motorcycle licenses. You've been riding yours illegally, haven't you? And he just Soichi just pulls out his wallet. It's like, I do have a license.
Yeah, like Agito is freaking great. Um, the problem is like the comedy near the like last third of the show tends to go a little too like slapsticky and over the top for its own good. To counter like how heavy everything else is, but like other than that, it's pretty solid as a show. As for like the whole amnesia thing, like yeah, basically Agito's thing is like, ignorance is bliss kind of, but it's also kind of like you have to deal with the past to move on and keep evolving into the person you want to be and stuff like that. Um, so Agito is really interesting. Also, Tsukiyomi was fucking badass this episode. I mean, I guess it kind of
Yeah,
helps that
she is.
yeah. I mean, I guess it kind of helps that like her outfit's pretty distinctive, but she has super long hair, so you could just put a stunt person in there and nobody would notice. Especially her, just like because I'm like, I don't think you're gonna have the actress like just vault over some fences and shit like that. You know, especially because it's like, okay, great, like yeah, they could do it, but what if they like break a leg or something and then you're fucked? Um, which is like old school writer story where it's like, yeah, that's why you don't have the main cast do their own stunts for the most. Um, but she was super cool in this episode. Also, like everybody just walking down the street and like just figuring stuff out, especially with like, oh right, like the Agitos went to the cops and the cops didn't find them and stuff. I'm like, oh man, it's so nice when the people are actually competent. Like we used to have freaking plot like this back in the day. I mean, like Zio's pretty solid lately, but like it's nice to actually see like somewhat realistic detective work or just deductive reasoning, which is nice. Also, like all the old school like camera shots and stuff like that, like the triple henshin and like people walking down like similar old school locations and stuff, and like the restaurant and everything was super nice to see. And like the pier location, which shown up in like so many shows.
I missed that. I was like watching the comments.
Uh,
Tsukiyomi got to have like good fight scenes and
so
character development this episode. I feel like she hasn't had good fight scenes in a while.
you mean at all?
Yeah. Well, maybe in the first episode she got to do some running around and shooting, and she's gonna do a bit of
Yeah,
running
like
around
that's
and
just it though.
shooting.
She's not fighting. She was literally running around and firing a gun. Like
Yeah,
she's not fighting.
that's the only equivalent she gets so far. So I'm
In this episode, she actually like fights. Like she has to defend herself because she's alone and she's being attacked.
right. Time powers, yes. And we'll talk about that later, but that was a cool scene, although I kind of thought that was what was going to happen.
Uh, so yeah, they show up at a site where a bunch of G3 users are being attacked. The three riders get involved in the action. Uh, and we get a really cool henshin shot where you see it happening from behind, which like never happens with like all the like CGI logos and stuff. Like it's actually really cool. I like that. And then at one point, one of the so first off, like the another Agito like attacks a G3 member and like infects him, and he turns into another Agito as well. So they kind of like start multiplying here. And at one point, one of them goes for the guy standing behind Tsukuyomi, and Tsukuyomi freezes time and stops it.
Okay. Um, yeah, we have to stop here because this is two very different but very important points. Let's just deal with the Agito shit first, which is okay. Agitos don't work like that,
No.
right? Like maybe if you wanted to go and do Orphanak from Five, you could maybe
No.
pull that off. But like
So,
Agitos specifically don't work.
so no, they don't specifically work like this. However, there is canonically more than one Agito. Like, as long as you have,
Yeah,
like, the seed, you have the potential to become an Agito. And so I see this as kind of playing off of that concept of multiple people can be Agito.
Here's the problem. Like, unless they hire like every single person in the G3 unit is like a high Agito candidate, like it's so unlikely. You'd just be like, all right, now you're
No, no, no.
infected.
Like this is clearly like cheating to get the results, but
Yeah, I know, but I'm like, come on,
yeah.
man, you could have fucking tried.
Uh,
I
I'm
mean,
just
I
I'm just
mean,
kind of
they
taking
could even.
this at face value, where it's like, all right, there's the possibility of multiple Agitos existing, so they're kind of using that here.
Maybe, yeah, it just annoys me because I'm like Agitos are a cool enough concept. Like, here's the problem, right? This is basically, oh, you got infected, now you're like a ghoul or something from like a vampire or werewolf or zombie or something, like you got infected, now you turn into the monster, right?
Hmm.
The problem is the Agitos are not that. They're more like
Right.
mutants, which means you have to kind of be just born with your abilities or be like highly likely to awaken them. So like the infection thing, like yeah, I get it. It's the Agito concept, just a weird spin on it, but it's like,
It's
man,
not
they could have done something
it's
better.
not
Like,
like correct in lore, but you can see how it's trying to be, what it's trying to do.
I know. I here's the thing. Like, I was kind of hoping for like if you wanted like oh multiple groups of Agitos, you could just do the thing in Agito, which is like yeah, there's people with superpowers that are
Right.
just awakening
Like,
them, and they just connect because like who else are they gonna talk
hey,
to?
yo, we
Or if you
gathered a bunch of human psychics in one facility and then gave them a bunch of random choices to make so that they could build up their psychic potential.
right, that could work. I mean, they actually kind of tried that in Agito. Um, yeah, but I mean, if you didn't want to do that because you wanted to use the suits, you could just have like okay, they've kind of gone like I mean like Amazon style, which is like they've been on the run, right? Because they don't know what the fuck is going on. They're turning into these weirdo monsters and they're just trying to defend themselves. I mean, I guess the problem is then they would make the cops into like real assholes like they were in Amazons, where it's like why are you just hunting normal people like they did nothing wrong, right? Whereas like the Agito cops aren't like they're kind of dicks, like some of the higher ups, but they're not that bad. Whereas like the Amazons ones are like, no, these guys are assholes. They're just getting paid to murder anything that gets in their way and like wipe out the Amazons. Um, so yeah, I guess it'd be a really dark take on it. I don't know. It's just this very weird take. It kind of like puts me into like, oh, how would I do this premise? But it's like it turns into too much spies,
Like I'm
right? Because like this
I'm
is a
fine with
very
how
spies plot.
I'm fine with how this is. Like I'm just taking this at face value. It's like, yeah, that's not how Agitos work, but I get what they're going for. They just want to show like, hey, there's multiple Agitos.
Like hell, even if they wanted to do the thing of like, all right, you could do a second. I was gonna say Men in Black, but that's God, not him. The original Sweetie, right?
Right.
Like basically, he has the ability to awaken Agito. You could have done something like that, or maybe the guy who Schwartz gave the damn thing to is one of those. Like, who
Like,
knows?
well, here's the thing: we don't know who Schwartz gave the watch to. We don't know who is underneath that disguise. Are we gonna talk about the fact that the another Agito suit is literally another Agito?
It
Yeah,
is.
yeah, that
I
was kind of
kind of
nuts.
figured that would happen.
I mean, they
Also,
should have
having not
just
seen Agito, I think of like the
uh,
method of making more Agitos at all. When they brought it up, I'm just like, okay, I guess that's how they'll increase the tension because it's like, oh, you can't just get rid of the one monster. You have multiple kinds.
yeah. I mean,
Uh,
the thing in Agito is like they're they had less victims than Kuga, but they had more monsters. So like if like, oh, this is the monster of the week, but the monster of the week isn't alone. It's like, oh, here's like the turtle kaijin, and but there's like two or three of them, you
Mm.
know. Um, so like you could have kind of had the same plot line. It's just weird because it's like, I mean, hell, even if you wanted to do the another Agito thing and just use the another Agito suit, like they should have used a Gil suit in there or something, or just like an Agito head or some weird colored version. Because like, yeah, there's supposed to be like more and more Agito, but like they're different types of Agito, right? Like they're not all just another Agito looking, which is just like a weird bio version of like Kamen Rider 1 fused with Agito is what the another Agito suit pretty much is. Um, I don't know. It's
Yeah,
weird. I
he's
get it.
like,
For the show, it works, but it's like I like Agito is one of those like really cool premises where it's like, you could do something really interesting with it, but it's like Toei decided to be super cheap, kind of, which is weird because they're like multiple G3 units running around, but like basically one Agito suit.
Okay. As for Tsukiyomi's and like the whole fight scene, it was all really good. That was a really good henshin, and it was a really good like leading up to Tsukiyomi freezing time, and then like the fight resolves and they have to run off, so it doesn't get addressed until later. But of course, everyone's thinking about it. It'll be for next week, I suppose, for the heroes to deal with.
yeah, like Sugiyomi freezing time was like, oh, okay, so they're going down with her. She's kind of like that fourth time jacker that we've been hypothesizing. Uh, and it's worth noting that only two characters saw she froze time. Well, two characters who mattered. Waz and Schwartz. Sogo and Gaze like were off fighting and didn't notice. Uh, so back at the clock shop, they're like discussing what to do next, and they figure, all right, if we need the watch, if we need Agito's watch to defeat another Agito, then we need to find Agito. And so, brilliant, creative problem solver Sogo, our main hero, our guy who's always thinking outside the box, who's this guy who's like always like looking out for like creative solutions to problems. He decides, all right, we're gonna find Agito by googling him.
Hey,
Not
at least
Googling
somebody at
Google or whatever that is.
Yeah, it's never really Google. They always change the name.
And
Um,
violate that copyright. Also, I love like
it's a
Gates is like, oh
search engine.
come on, there's no way you're going to find him, and then they find the restaurant.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
Hilarious
so
scene.
Sugami
so
Shoichi, professional chef, like post
made
series,
a restaurant
yeah, like he opens up his own restaurant.
near
And
the end.
it's literally like final episode. It does a 1 year time skip to where he has it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Is it
Uh,
called like Cafe Agito then too?
no, yeah, it's
Yeah,
restaurant Agito.
Got it.
Like he just straight up
it's
calls it
literally
that.
the same place. Like it's literally the same location and everything, which is cool.
Let's get
Uh,
really good Yelp reviews.
I mean,
well, Suichi's actually a good cook once he recovers his memory.
yeah, he
All these
actually
good cooks
like
in Kamen Rider, and I'm like, why can't they be real so they can cook me dinner?
so Ichi before he got amnesia went to culinary school, and then at some point during the series he runs into his old professor who recognizes Shoichi as one of his best students and offers him a job at his new restaurant on the spot.
Huh.
like as a live-in too.
Interesting.
Like I
Yeah,
quit teaching to open my own restaurant. I will hire you right now.
Well, I wish people would be like, "Hi, I'm gonna hire you right now."
yeah. I mean, technically, it's just nepotism, so it's like it happens. It's whatever, man. I'm not gonna rant about nepotism right now. Um, but like in Agito, it's really interesting because like Suichi has like he's an okay cook when his memory's gone. It's just thing is he has a garden, so like whatever grows in the garden he tends to cook with. So like they ended up growing like way too much fucking like what was it like cabbage or something or spinach? No, I think it was cabbage. Uh, and then like he tries to put it in everything, and it's just like okay, you're an okay cook, but like you're trying to do like insane shit now, just trying to stuff this in everywhere so everybody would eat it, and like people just get so fed up with this shit, which is kind of funny. And then like later on, when he recovers his memory, he actually becomes like a really good cook again. And then he goes works at the restaurant, and he helps like another character who's like learning at the restaurant and stuff because like his boss who used to be his teacher is kind of like a real hard ass because Japanese chefs tend to be douchebags like that. Um, and then like he teaches her, and like they kind of have like a thing going on. And you figure out like, oh, which is kind of cool. And then it just kind of leads into the like, yeah, there's like infinite number of Agitos because like humanity, just like humanity as a race, has the ability to turn into Agito.
Like you, like anyone could like have inherited that potential. Like you have
Well,
no, you know,
everybody has it. It's just
mm,
some people are closer to unlock it than most other people.
like I never looked at like everyone has it, like because they never directly say that one way or another whether or not everyone has it. Just that. So I just kind of interpreted that some people have it, and then even fewer like develop it.
Yeah, I mean it's weird because like it depends on like what do you think the man in white did,
Like, because
where
all we
it's
get
like
is he spread his power amongst the humans. It's never made clear if that incorporated all of them or not. We just know that's been building up over generations.
yeah, that's a good point. And then again, like it might just be yeah, you're right. It's probably more of a genetic thing because like some people have a higher genetic chance of
Uh,
having it because like
oh,
they're descendant from more people who have the Agito gene, I guess.
it's very much a genetic thing because whenever a human qualifies to like be hunted down by the unknown will also go for direct blood relatives. Like, hey, if he had the potential, then you probably do as well. You need to go.
Yeah, I mean like Agito is like one of those really interesting like villain concepts where it's like, yeah, we're gonna kill you and everyone you
We're
love.
gonna kill you and your brother and your
Yeah, and
pregnant
you're
wife because your son could.
yeah, I know that was so fucked up, man. Um, and like the best thing is like, yeah, we're doing this for the betterment of humanity. Like you
Yeah, the
fucking
like no joke. The main antagonist in Agito is God.
yep. I mean that's why I will always joke where it's like Agito, what's the story? Oh yeah, a dude becomes the demon. I mean like a demon and kicks God in the face. Because that's pretty much what happens in Agito.
Uh,
Because like the monsters are basically considered like angels, sort of. They're like divine messengers and stuff. So basically, they're
they're like
angels.
God's emissaries.
Yeah, they're freaking weird.
Like
Um,
like at one
but like
point
it takes a while to figure that part out.
at one point like God like gets mad that humans are fighting back against him and begins causing the apocalypse.
Oh right, near the end.
Seriously?
Yeah,
Seriously. And
and
like
then
the
Agito kicks
Wow.
him so hard that he
yeah, and then
stuffs it up.
Agito stops it by Ryder kicking God in the face.
Nice. Although I feel loads of Japanese media are all about let's punch God in the face / kick God in the face. I'm like, what?
Well, like,
The
so
Japanese hate God, apparently.
this is spoilers for
It's mostly
Agito.
because they hate like religious wars and shit that like they hate like all the like because Japan has this like really bad history of like religion showing up and fucking shit up of like different types of religion. And then like a lot of like cult shit and all that other crap happened too. So like Japan really like is not okay with like when you start being like hyper religious or any of that shit because it's like yeah we have like continuous patterns of this shit happening and it's doing tons of damage. So like whenever like original religion and then like Shintoism and then like Buddhism and then like Christianity, it's like oh man, so much damage. And then like all the cult shit that happened like like a couple
Hmm.
decades ago. Yeah, so
Like,
Japan really is not into like yeah. I mean, you can be religious, but like don't force that shit on anyone.
this is
Smart move.
spoilers for Agito, but like, in the show, God, like, he sets it up so that he has a physical body, so that he can walk amongst the humans as though he is one of them. And when Agito Rider kicks him, he like destroys that physical body. So in a way, Agito like kills God.
Neat.
Well, kinda. I mean, like he's still alive in like
Like
energy
he
form,
doesn't,
but yeah.
yeah, like God doesn't actually die because like he's God, but like Agito like destroys his physical body. So in a way, it's kind of like he killed God. Uh, Back to Zi-O. So Sogo gets the idea to go and investigate the restaurant that is literally called Restaurant Agito, which uh, is a pretty is a it is a really good plan considering the stupid way he went about getting it.
Uh, I mean, yeah, it's a good point, especially considering like Agito is like just a Japanese word. Like if you stuck that into Google, like you would get so many results, so it won't actually be that useful. But hey, it's fucking Kamen Rider land, so who knows? Maybe their Google is actually useful. Maybe Philip optimized it with keywords lookup or something.
Philip optimizing Google. I like that idea.
Uh,
Uh, so Sogo and Gaze go and they meet Mana, not Agito's girlfriend.
Also, not the one from Deno, but actually the one from Deno.
Uh,
yeah,
yeah, like
it's
I actually didn't even realize that she was the stewardess in Deno.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, the actress who played Mana is also the stewardess on Denliner.
Nice.
yeah. I mean, I I mean like mostly I think she does more modeling, or she used to. Like she's done very few acting things. Especially after Deno, I think she went mostly into modeling. So there's not that much acting stuff. I don't know, maybe she's come back. But it's cool to see Mana back, which is nice. Um, like shit, even Deno was like over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And like again, like the Agito actor, it looks so fucking young, and it's been like fuck, what, like almost 20 years, right? Like it's
2001.
amazing. Those guys, yeah, shit, 18 years. That's impressive.
Drago, hey, what do you want to say?
Now it's gonna be fun when a Deno episode comes around and she comes back.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But
Oh,
like,
and then
Wait,
Well,
we
she's-
just saw you. Your hair is different and you're
No.
wearing 20 watches. What?
I was about to say, like, she's gonna have her hair up. It'll be different.
Also,
this is now
what
I kind of wish
is this?
Otoya would have showed up.
Oh, Vashi really wanted Grease to show up in the Build tribute, and then have him show up again as Otoya and the Kiva, so that someone could be like, "Wait."
Yeah, that would have been great.
Okay,
I
yeah.
mean, the thing is like Kiva. Oh, you know what I really want? Actually, it'd be weird because like they're not going super back in time because like if they go to Kiva and they jump like 20 years in back in time, unlikely. It's most likely gonna just be featured. I mean, like the 2008 crew returning. But what I would like is like Jiro to come back, and then like in the Hibiki one for him to be like actually no, he's fucking dead. So no,
Ooh.
that wouldn't work.
I
Um
mean, that didn't stop Takumi or Kusaka.
uh yeah, but they're like weirdo things like the fuck, what am I talking about? The Hibiki thing is
They,
more like you're dead, bro. Like you ain't coming back. And then like the Hibiki movie, he comes back, but he's a different character back in like hundreds of years ago, so that doesn't count. Yeah, whatever. We'll get to Hibiki when we get there, but like yeah, it would have been really fun to see Grease and like Grease and Toya would have been so fun because they're so different characters.
Like Vashi wanted two things. He wanted that, and he wanted another Agito.
Well, I mean, he got another Agito Omega, so
No, he wanted
why not?
another Agito.
I know it's stupid. It would never happen.
Like, how did that board meeting go? Did someone had to have spoken up, right?
How did they not do it? Yeah, exactly. Ah, man. Now we have to get another Agito Alpha to balance him out. Oh, you haven't seen Amazon, so you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
I know that like you have Amazon, Omega, and Alpha,
Yeah, Alpha
and
Omega.
I
Oh,
think I think
there's
Neo
like
or something.
yeah, that's season two. There's
there's
like
Sigma.
Uh,
yeah, spoilers. I wasn't trying to spoil it, but yeah, there's Sigma, and then there's something. Neo Alpha is in the movie. Yeah, something like that. Uh, anyway, Zio or Drago, did you want anything to say?
No, I just wanted to say that.
oh yeah. Uh, so so Tokiwa Sogo, ever the clever sport that he is, carefully choosing his words when approaching a delicate conversation, making sure that, what he's saying is clearly understood and not wanting to cause any unnecessary confusion. Looks at Mana, who he has no idea who she is, so to him she's just a random employee at this restaurant, and says, "Hi, is Agito here?"
He says, "Hi, is Agito here? I'm Kamen Rider Zi-O," and
Yeah.
Gates' face is just priceless.
No, he doesn't even say he's a Kamen Rider. He just says, I need to meet Agito so I can become king."
Yes, and I love Gates' face. He's just like, oh, are you kidding me?
I know,
For
right?
fuck's
It's,
sake, why are you so dumb, Sogo?
He had to cheat on his
Exactly.
makeup exam to graduate high school. What do you
Exactly.
expect?
Sogo is an
Right?
idiot. I have accepted this for a while.
Okay, I just wanted to say this one thing that it's been bothering me about Zio a lot. Okay, in Zio they say that they are making another timeline, but this Sogo can't even stop saying I want to be king. I'm getting sick of this shit.
He still wants to be king. He's just not going to become the Demon King. He's going to become the kindest, most benevolent, benign Demon King.
Oh god damn it! I was gonna make a freaking he can hear what, like the Earth song or whatever. What the hell is this hentai reference?
Kyoryuger, the Rhythm of the Earth.
Cure, yes, that, because nothing like Daigo go
Yeah,
out.
Daigo is literally tells people to call him king, and at first his teammates are like, "No," but then they just
Yep.
go along with it anyways.
This is turning into the Flash. We're gonna fuck up the timeline so hard. We're gonna turn this writer show into a Sentai show. That would be pretty funny. But Yeah, it does annoy me that they're not dropping this king shit. And the thing is, like, normally there's like some layer or something underneath where it's like, oh, okay, like, yeah, we could maybe give you this king nickname if you had like a personality trait or somebody would follow. But it's like, okay, Ahsoka, you're kind of a decent guy for the most part. You're an idiot, but you're a decent dude now. But it's like, why we're not doing this king shit, Sogo?
Like,
Like
like,
nobody's buying it. You have no personality to pull this off with.
like at least Daigo and Kyoryuger, like he was such a charismatic person that other people just couldn't help but like admire. I'm like, man, you're actually a pretty good guy. Sogo doesn't have that.
I mean, yeah, in the 20s, especially in the entire White Wars arc, at least it made sense why he would be king. But now since that arc is over, and then since they called truce with both gays and walls, I don't think that the king stuff is necessary. I think they should be more focusing on preventing the Oma Zio timeline.
By becoming the most benign Demon King.
I mean, the
Yeah, and that's
funniest,
stupid.
Yeah, like I was
yeah,
explaining Zi-O to a friend who doesn't watch Rider, and he had two questions, and one of them was like, "Why does he keep using the word Demon King in that?"
right? Which is super stupid. But the best part is like he says like, yes, I'm gonna not be the demon king. I'm gonna become like the benign king or whatever. And like Amazio's like, yeah, that's what I did. I'm like, didn't you learn that like you can't keep doing this shit and because it will just force Amazio? And it's like, knock the king shit off. I mean, like, I don't know, man. Here's the weird thing: if it was like Forze or something, just running around saying I want to be king, but it's Forze, so he's like friends with everyone, I could
I
kind of buy it,
honestly, I was just saying, it's like if Forze said I want to be king, I'd be like, you know what, you have a chance.
right? Like, yeah, Forze, I could buy it. Yeah, there's a couple other writers. Like, I mean, I want it to get to the like Kabuto episode, and like Kabuto just kicks the shit out of Zi-O because like Kabuto is that kind of dude.
What
With
is a
like
king
decade,
to a god?
yeah, exactly, right, right, exactly. He's like, oh, do that. Do you face the sun and say that to that? Or yeah,
Yeah,
basically, like Kabuto has like such an ego. It would,
I
um,
mean, okay, we already have a king though in Kamen Rider. It's Kiva and Dark Kiva.
yeah, I know that storyline, but it'd be great because like you like the thing is like decade is the common rider troll common rider. So like he would kind of help you, but he trolls too much. But like Kabuto would just straight up kick your ass because if you start doing this king shit, is like I'm God, piss off, right? Whereas like there are writers who are strong enough to actually smack the Zi-O around, but they're too nice.
like Gaim.
Um, yeah, like Gaim or Wizard or oh well, Wizard couldn't even be there, which sucked. Or like yeah, Kiva would probably just tell him it's like it's not worth it, man. Title shit is stupid. Just be
Oh
yourself.
yeah, that's right. Kiva's final form is literally called Emperor.
Yeah, if you put it in the belt, like the watch for Kiva, it says Emperor, which is cool. But I don't know, man. Like, yeah, hopefully, like Kabuto or Kiva like talk some sense into this idiot with this king shit. Like Zio's been really solid. It's just this king stuff is super.
Uh, so Gaze and Sogo awkwardly leave, and then Mana immediately receives a call from Agito saying, "Oh hey, I'm oh right." It's because she tells them that, "Oh well, the if you mean the owner, he's away. He's out of country." So the two of them leave, and then she immediately receives a call from Agito like, "Hey, I'm back in Japan because of what you sent me earlier." It's like, "Oh, okay. Well, someone who wants to be king was just looking for you." And we just get this great shot of like king?
Yeah,
Even
that's what
Soichi can't believe it.
I mean. That's what I was saying. Is like Suichi's so good at like acting with his face. Like his reaction shots are fucking amazing in Agito. That it's so good where it's like, yeah, it's great that like Zio's bullshit runs into such a like straight faced guy like Suichi, where it's like, what the hell did I just hear?
Like he
This
wants
You know,
random stranger who wants to be king is looking for
he
me.
wants to be king. Like like he looks around like I'm in Japan, right?
right? It's like who even says that shit? I love how like at least one writer acknowledged how dumb this sounds.
Uh,
Um,
like if this was Hibiki, Hibiki would like support his ideas. Like, all right, you want to be king? Go for it. Become king.
right,
But
exactly.
here we have Agito, who's just like, excuse me.
Uh, the funniest thing is like it's in Agito, which has like the highest stakes. You know, like one of the highest stakes shows where it's basically fucking X-Men, right? So like insane shit happens all the time. But like Agito is like a dude who's so down to earth. It's like, wait, what? What the
Like
fuck
he's
did
the
I
like
hear?
he's one of the most chill riders ever.
Right. I mean, like that's one of the like problems of Agito. It's like if you say, "Oh, who's your favorite?" Like nobody's gonna pick Agito because he's so just like he's just a decent dude, but he's not super interesting, but he's so like just a regular guy that it's like it's great when you get him into crazy shit like this because he's like, wait, what? Um. So yeah, like he has uses. Like the thing is, like Kuga is like nicest, most like heroic dude ever, kind of. Um. Right. And like Agito is just a guy for the most part. Like just a regular human being. And like Takumi is like a social weirdo, and like Kenzaki is just basically like the embodiment of what a writer should be. I mean, like he's kind of a little bit of a hardhead, but like for the most part he's good. And like the list goes on, but like Agito is just the dude for the most part. So like I don't think I've ever really had anyone say Agito was their favorite writer or like the main guy because there's like you could say maybe like Gills or D3 because they're really interesting. But like to balance those personality traits out, like Agito just had to be a
Like,
regular guy for the most part. But
uh,
it's he's super great when you
my
put him in
favorite part
crazy shit.
about Agito's series is the interaction between Shoichi and Hikawa. Like the comedy there is gold.
Right? Because like Soichi is just like basically how should I describe like um imagine like Soichi is basically a surfer bro without the surfer, right? Like personality wise, like super chill.
Chill, like just forward thinking, like very much
Yeah,
is easily living in the moment.
and Hikawa is just like your standard like I should be the freaking protagonist, hot blooded kind of like really cool looking police guy. But the thing is, he takes himself way too seriously, and that's like an insane running gag throughout the show. I mean, it gets a little way too overboard later on, but like for most of the show, it's really fun to see them just bounce off each other.
Uh, you mean I can't be the G3 user because I can't pick up tofu?
Oh my god, yeah, the tofu gag went way overboard, but
It
like the
worked.
first time they
Like,
did it was so good.
I was entertained the entire time.
Yeah, I mean, my point was it happened way too late because I'm like funny, but like way too much serious shit is happening right now. We like if it happened earlier in the show, it would have been fine. But like as the show goes on, like more and more people
Why are we picking up tofu
gag
anyways?
segments.
You brought it
Yeah,
up.
I know it's so stupid. Um, and then like it's great because then you have like yeah like super straight laced like Hikawa, who's super serious for the most part. Suichi, who's super laid back. Then you run into like Gills, right? Who is
Hmm.
super like either depressed or pissed off because of
Both.
how shit like if you're ever like, oh, some writer has it bad where it's like shit just
Yeah.
goes down
Like
the
Gills has the
drain as
best
soon as they
story
became a,
arc.
yeah, he does. But he is like the pinnacle of like, oh my god, like how bad can you make a writer's life be while having him still be a writer and not a bad guy is basically Gills. Like literally everything bad you can think of pretty much happens to Gills. Like his story is interesting, but it's like it's really fucked up if you had to live through that.
Uh, so Zi-O. Uh, we're gonna take like those last few scenes like scene by scene. So uh, Gaze, Sogo, and Waz go to intercept an attack of another Agitos on a G3 unit. Uh, and they're having a little trouble like trying to like fight them without hurting them because these are still innocent people that were turned into the monsters and such. So Sogo, brilliant genius Sogo, forward thinking Sogo, looks at the scenario and goes, "Man, we're not getting anywhere with all these numbers running around. Like there's so many more enemies and only three of us. You know what we should do? We should use Trinity form and fuse the three of us into one person."
This was such a stupid plan.
Like this is Vashi's other complaint with this episode.
Asogo being dumb again. Although it leads to a really hilarious scene of Waz going, "Wait, let me redo that speech in the middle of a fight," and everyone just stares.
Yeah, that was pretty fun, over the top. Um, my thing is, I'm like, all right, it's an Agito form. I mean, episode. We have to put Trinity form in here. But I'm like, literally, this is a battle of numbers. Like, why did you combine and become less? You know? And then he's like, oh, okay, yeah, as you said, right? It's like, oh, maybe they didn't want to hurt them, right? Then why did Soga freaking land two finishers on one guy, right? That was so insane.
uh, uh, and like Waz like steals the spotlight for a moment. He goes out of his way to take control of the body to do a new like Trinity announcement for some reason. And like even Sogo and like stops him like, "What are you doing right now?"
I guess he's like, I don't know, man. At this point, I'm starting to think he's just freaking. I was gonna say the question, but not the question. The Riddler, where it's like he just can't help himself. I guess that the green helps there. Um, where it's like, no, I have to do this. It doesn't matter where I am. I have to do this. So it's like, oh man, little OCD there was.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny, but it's like, shit, you're gonna get killed if you pull this shit against Amazio or something. Actually, I think Amazio would just laugh it off.
I don't know, if they do this with Trinity form in front of Amazio is like, perfect, I can kill all three of you at once. Well,
No, he
actually,
doesn't
no.
want to. If he kills
Yeah,
him,
I just
he
realized,
can't
I'm
kill
like, no, I'm
himself.
not gonna kill myself, then I'll vanish, and extra paranoid.
That's a horrible idea. Why would you ever
Yes.
consider that?
Think about that. That was dumb of me. Okay, in that case, that's like an emergency situation. Like, you can't kill me, I'm you. Shit.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure Amazio would figure out a way to just knock him out. I mean, technically, he kicked the shit out of like basic Zio in like base form,
Yeah, but Zio's
right?
gotten a lot stronger since
Like
then.
his weakest. Yeah, I know, but that was his weakest form. Mazi almost fucking killed him there. right? Like, I doubt he's gonna give two shits about kicking his ass in Trinity form.
Oh yeah, we're just talking about how you can't kill Soko. Like, that is literally his past self. He needs that to exist. Uh, so yeah, like you said, Trinity uses a finisher on one of the Another Agito, and it seems to turn him back to normal without killing him. So I guess it's kind of like how the Another Riders work, where if you defeat them, like they go back to normal until they're infected again.
Yeah, maybe.
Like,
I mean, like, if you hadn't brought up the another writer's fact, I was like, goddamn lucky that didn't kill anyone.
like
Um,
this just raises the next question of if Trinity form is this strong, do they actually need the Another Agito watch to defeat the real one? And the only explanation I can offer is that the
no,
copies are not as weak. Okay.
no. I'm guessing the answer is no, but it's mostly they just have to stop the fucking thing and they'll just get the watch at the end anyway. But,
Also,
like, yeah, they don't need Agito's power for that.
I just realized like Sogo literally said at the start of the episode that he wants to collect the watches anyways.
He's such
Yeah,
an idiot. Like, Vashi's right, man.
like
This dumbass is gonna lead to Amazio because he's too stupid. Like, this is worse than Mutsuki. Mutsuki's bullshit of like, oh, I want to collect them all, and like Blade and Garen going like, this isn't a card game, Mutsuki, right? Like, knock it off. But I'm like, the world wasn't gonna fucking end if he collected all the damn cards he wanted, right?
Yes, it was.
Well, yeah, if there were no undead left, but like, if Mutsuki got all his 13, nothing was gonna happen,
well he did get all his
right?
13. He just didn't have any. He didn't have any like power up device to use it on.
Right, but that's what I'm saying is like Omazio becomes a reality if Zio gets all his watches, whereas like Mutsuki getting like all his power ups didn't do anything, right? Because like there was still like Joker running around, so like the battle fight wouldn't end anyway, and they all had like whatever. It's fine. The point is like it wasn't as big of a threat, and like Mutsuki was just kind of getting caught up in the moment because he's just a dumbass high schooler, right? And he didn't think like, to be fair, none of the writers knew that like if a Joker survived, the world was gonna end until like much later on. So like they were just like, okay, just knock it off, Mutsuki. Grow up instead of like, no, don't do that. You're just fucking up the world. Whereas like here, we specifically know like the more shit you get, the closer you get to Amazio, and Sogo's still doing it. So yeah, I agree with Bashi. It's like this is a really stupid decision.
Uh, so elsewhere, Tsukuyomi is contemplating her experience alone when Schwartz shows up and says, "Hey, yo, I saw you freeze time. You want to do that for me again?" And then he sicks another Agito on her to force her hand. And she runs around fire, like defending herself. And this is the actual fight scene we're talking about, where she's like shooting a gun.
Yeah. Just one more thing. We got a comment. Writer Damashi says Sogo is playing Pokemon with ride watches. Um, that would be pretty fun, honestly. But like, yeah, it's true. It's like,
Like,
I mean, maybe as they're saying, like, yeah, maybe it's a
like,
type advantage thing, or
okay,
maybe
so
it's just he wants to collect them all.
this is the episode, by the way, where Soko officially decides he's going to collect the ride watches. Up until now, he happened to get all the ones that he got. He didn't actively look for them. He just ended up with them. This is the first time he's actually gone like, okay, I'm gonna go and get the ride watch.
I mean, maybe you can say it's because he decided he needs to be as strong as Amazio, but it's like, again, it's never specified why, right? Like,
He just
as
says
you
I
guys
should
said,
at
like,
least be on par with him, which is a vague statement.
right? Yeah, it's I don't know. It's just because the show needs him to collect the stupid gimmicks. Because they work with adults, so it's like, well, we have to give some reason. I mean, I know it's gonna become useful later on,
Say,
but like realistically,
hey,
there's
I,
no
I
reason to go down this,
it just occurred to me. Omazio used the Ryuki watch and was able to just freely summon and control Drag Redder.
right?
So does
Um,
Sogo have that? Like, can he just summon a fucking dragon whenever he wants?
I don't know. It depends on that
Yes.
special. Oh, that sucks. Um, well, I guess that's why Kiva is coming up later to kick his ass. Uh, in like emperor form, phoenix, dragon riding, and everything. Yo, actually, that's not possible. I was like, oh, wouldn't it be great if Castle Duran is like older? But I'm like, that thing's like hundreds of years old. It's not aging. So I'm like, ah, it's not happening. But it would have been fun. Um, yeah. To be fair, like thinking back, like main writers tend to have some seriously broken ass shit. When it comes to power-ups, like one, like final forms are pretty broken, but like all the other tech that they have is insane. Like Decade, I can just jump dimensions. Wizard, like my rings can pretty much do anything, right?
Right.
Like and like Kiva, like yeah, I can just leap through time in my castle. Uh, with like one door in my castle, right?
Deno literally has a
Like
train that travels through time.
right, exactly. And it's like holy shit, like to be
Hi,
fair, like it's like a certain section of writer shows that have crazy shit because it's like Kabuto's watch,
like,
so can mess
Hyper
with it can go so
Kabuto
fast.
like could travel back in time in its movie.
Yeah, if your writer kicked hard enough, um, right? And then like yeah, it's funny because it's literally back to back. It's like Kabuto, Deno, Kiva, broken ass shit, Decade, right? Um, technically O's, but that's because like O's just did so much fucking time travel shit. But it's not his fault. Forze, not so much. I mean, he is pretty powered up, kind of. It's more just he has like real good movement abilities because of his build, and then like Wizard like insanely busted because his rings can pretty much do anything. And then like Gaim is literally freaking god or a god. There's a couple of those. Um,
No,
Devil
like
has
and then
the
no,
like
no,
knowledge of.
you're right. Like Gaim got the forbidden fruit and he gained the power to like change the world as he saw fit. He literally became a god.
right,
Okay, I
and
was just
then
gonna say
uh,
that W also is pretty broken because he has the power of all having all the knowledge of the world.
oh yeah, that's what I was thinking. Right, like
Right.
so Devil's pretty busted too. So it's like, yeah, for like 10 years straight, like all the main writers had some seriously busted. Actually, that's not even true. It's kind of
Uh,
still going on
and
because like
it's not like we haven't
build
seen
is
this
pretty
before. Like
smart.
Agito's Shining Evolution is the power of infinite evolution. Like if Agito
Yeah, I know.
fights someone too strong for him, he can just evolve a stronger form, can't he?
He's basically the Hulk, right? Like as long as he can keep going, he'll just keep getting stronger.
Uh,
Um,
O's like all the metals together is the power that is a power that can transcend infinity. So if Edgy like got an actual complete collection,
right, like it's the one thing that could stop like I guess Gaim if he ever went crazy. I guess
possibly, yeah, in theory,
possibly. I mean, Wizard could probably do it too, but that's just Wizard being
magic,
just because he has
L-
so much ability. Yeah, it's because the
literally
magic is just
magic.
so versatile. Yeah, it's so versatile. Um, and then like Decade, just same thing. Just the
The
versatility wins
the
out.
destroyer of worlds.
Right? It's like, oh, what? You're one guard. I've blown up nine others. right? Yeah, it's interesting.
Uh,
I was more just talking about random tech, but yeah, you're right. Like we've gotten more and more busted writers as time has gone on. Like build like uh,
uh,
I
The
can't
villain
think
was
of the
broken
name.
Ash.
like Build's power
Uh,
comes from the bottles, which
well,
fuel
well, I
pin.
meant more just he can outthink most people. Like he's supposed to be the smartest IQ wise writer, so he can just continue to build shit that can like upgrade anyone because he could just
Well, I would say Takeshi Hongo still beats him by having IQ of
Right.
600.
Build is the smartest Heisei rider.
right. I know, but when they were doing like the promotion shit, they're like, "Oh yes, build smartest writer ever." I'm like, okay. Um, yeah, Hongo's 600 shit is just hilarious because it's just one of those things of like, oh, we're just gonna throw numbers to make ourselves look smart. And I'm like, do you even compensate like contemplate the amount an IQ of 600 would have? Like that's insanity. Um, right. Anyway, yeah, it's pretty
Uh,
busted.
yeah. So,
I
uh,
mean, I guess yeah. Like I meant more just like oh, like Kiva, like Deno has a time train. Kiva has like Castle Dram, stuff like that. I meant just that. But like yeah, final form wise, like all the final forms are fucking busted, right? Like Kuga's an infinite fighting
no, no,
machine.
not all of
Agi,
them. Fize has arguably the weakest final form.
yeah, I know it's hideous,
Deno,
but like
liner form sucks.
Oh yeah,
I
right.
mean,
That's
that's
also
what.
true. Deno's final form is not his strongest. His climax form is his strongest.
huh, weird.
Yeah, it's cause
Yeah, but
so
he has a time train,
right,
so who
right.
cares?
His climax form is all of the Imagine possessing him at once. His liner form is none of them. It is him. He has to do it himself.
Okay. Um, yeah, that's a good point. Like besides Deno, they're all mostly. But oh, well, I guess Hibiki's final form's not that strong. But
Hibiki's final form is terrible.
yeah, it doesn't even need to exist.
I haven't even
Ryuki
seen
survive.
Hazuki's final form.
Yuki Survive is
Basically,
strong, but it's definitely not like world ending.
yeah, I was gonna say as soon as you see it, just stop the show because like
Okay.
as soon as that thing shows up, the
Uh,
show just like
I'd
becomes a
argue
totally
stopping
different
before
beast.
you see it, but yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like as soon as you see it for certain, it's like that's the time to stop. Like, yeah, you went too far. It's not even worth it.
All
Um,
right.
Like I
right.
finished Hibiki and I enjoyed it start to finish, but it was a completely different show by the end of it.
Mm.
Um, okay. Let's finish off Zi-O here. We're like at the end. Tsukiyomi is being attacked by another Agito, and she's unable to defend herself. But before she's forced to like freeze time again, Sugami Shoichi shows up, having been attracted to the monster, just like in his normal series. Uh, Henshins and fights, and boy does his experience show. Like every attack matters. Like it's all calculated. Like his dodges are all clean and swift. Like this is a fucking rider. This guy. He unfortunately gets ambushed by all of the other Nether Agitos who fled the fight with Trinity to come after him because that was Schwartz's plan all along. He wanted to lure Agito into a corner so he could steal his powers. Episode end.
Mm. This was a good setup, and I really like the getting, excuse me, Agito in the episode. That whole henshin, it was just so really good shots. It was really cool. I am looking forward to next episode. This one was pretty good. There was some weird plot related things, but I hope that they iron out the details so it's less. Do you prevent Sogo from becoming Oma Zi-O. It's like a fine line between becoming Omo Zi-O and becoming the nicest, kindest demon king. So I hope that we get more clarification soon.
This is the family.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I feel like Agito's been through so much shit. I bet like he could beat all the other Agitos by himself. I mean, it might be tough, but I feel like he could do it. But yeah, like his experience definitely shows. Then again, Agito always kind of had more of a chill fighting style. It was actually really nice to see like the way like they showed like the impacts and stuff, which is like the slight slow mo, like hold it there for a bit. I mean, it's not. Yeah, I mean, like the way they shot that fight was really well done. And again, Agito's suit continues to be.
Yeah. Uh, all right. Final thoughts on the episode. This was like this episode was an amazing throwback to Agito, and it makes me wish that early Zi-O had done more stuff like this uh, with its rider tributes, rather than like erasing, like changing history and erasing the Cineva riders. They did more of a Gokaiger approach, where like the riders are still there and they try to come in to solve the problems, but then they get like screwed over by the villain, and Zi-O has to come in and be the one to help them. They have to put their trust in him. Uh, Drago, Henshin, Zero, anyone?
Yeah, I already mentioned like this was a good episode. I'm excited. I honestly agree with you. It would have been great if this could have been the thing from then on, like the other riders don't suddenly get amnesia and lose their powers, but each one of them exists at the same time as the ride watch power exists so that they can have a respectful tribute and also help Zi-O. Started that way, this show would have had like a way less rough beginning, like first 10 episodes or so.
Yeah, they literally retconned the other shows out of existence, uh, which and now they retcon that so that that doesn't happen. I think that made for a better show, but it does make the beginning half very confusing and rough.
So the difference is that early Zi-O, another rider were being created in the year that that rider would have been born, the year that they existed. Whereas now they're being created in 2019, long after their series have aired. So that doesn't erase them from history.
Yeah, yeah, I know that. I'm just saying that I wish they had started it that like that now, because the time travel aspect and all the erasing stuff was kind of
Yeah, I
unnecessary in my
totally agree.
opinion.
All right. So, anyone else have anything else to say? Because this podcast has gone on for over an hour and a half.
Well, nothing. I don't know if we'll. I'll just say watch Rider Time. Don't watch Rider Time Ryuki if you are a fan of Ryuki.
Shit. Thanks for joining us tonight, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow for Power Rangers Beast Morphers, hopefully. We should be. And then do it all again next week. See you next time.
I
Zero, you gonna sign off?